Quinn, you're sitting at home in Colorado. We saw before you boarded a plane, went back to the United States, you were out there planning as if everything was going to go ahead as normal. You're reconning, doing your job to see the cobblestone sectors because you were set to race Paris-Roubaix in your Neopro year. Just what were you doing out there in northern France?
The first recon day we went and just saw the early sectors because I hadn't raced that before, and it's a key moment of the race. And then the second day was a longer recon focused on testing the bike, tire pressure, just really getting everything dialed so I could have my race set up ready and then train on that. So I had the time on the bike before the race and take care of any unforeseen mechanical issues that could happen and just make sure everything's super solid to go.
Were you on your own or with some teammates or?
The first time I went down with my coach and did a recon, and then the second time I made mom follow car.
You made your own follow car?
No, I made my mom come follow car for me.
So your mom was following in the car, or?
Yeah, had the rental on the cobbles.
Yeah, that it takes quite a beating there on the car. Did the car come out okay?
Yeah, the car came out okay. Yeah.
What did you learn out there? I mean, the weather I think was pretty nasty about a month ago out there. It probably still is.
Yeah, it was raining both times. Was actually really good because I'd never rode them in the rain, and just to work on that technique and see what it felt like. And honestly, I was hoping the race would be wet because the cobbles when they're wet are so much more fun than when they're dry and you just slide around and play in the mud. It reminded me of mountain bike racing, but it's just the distance and the amount of cobbles in the elite race versus what I was doing last year is crazy. I think, if you do 50K of cobbles, it hurts at the end, even if you're doing a recon.
In the junior race, you guys don't do all the cobble sectors that the men do.
Oh, we only do 16 sectors.
Okay.
So everything after the Arenberg.
So you were testing also some of your bike materials and equipment that you potentially use. Yeah,
bike, tire, just a lot of it is tire pressure and basically pushing it to see how low you can go without breaking stuff and find that limit of as low as possible.
So what was the PSI or the bar, as they say in Europe?
The lowest I tried was 3.8 bar.
Oh, really?
So that might have been a little low, but.
On tubulars or tubeless?
Tubulars.
And any other special setups that you're using?
Nothing too much really. I don't do the double wrap bars or anything. I think the biggest thing would be the tire pressure makes the biggest difference, and then we have the Damani from Trek that we would use. But honestly, I believe that the tire pressure is the most important part.
That was going to be one of your big goals in your Neopro year. The team had given you a shot to be in the team along with Mads Pedersen and Jasper Stuyven, right?
Yep.
And so that was the plan. You had the classics. You had some classics. What classics were you going to do in the build-up to Roubaix?
I was actually really lucky. My build-up was purely for that. So I had a plan that would set me to come up with enough racing to be fit, but not tired, because a lot of the guys come into Roubaix pretty tired, just having done a full season. So I was on a little lighter schedule, but I was scheduled for Hem-Wevelgem, Scal de Pries. Maybe would have gotten thrown in for Flanders, depending on how the pre-races went. But, really just some of the smaller classics. Was supposed to race Denain in France, which does the Roubaix sectors just to test everything out there again. And then some of the smaller races to get the race intensity without being too tired and, tune up with Scal de Pries and hopefully have good legs on Roubaix.
So where were you when you got the news that Paris-Roubaix was going to likely be canceled, and then it was canceled? Were you already in the United States at that point? And when did you go back to the United States?
So the day after my last recon day, I went out for just a recovery ride and was at a coffee shop when I heard that all the March races had been canceled in Flanders. So from there, I rode home and booked the ticket home and flew on Friday the next day and was back here.
There you just kind of assumed at that point that there's probably no way they could run Paris-Roubaix?
Yeah, and I mean, if there's no races in Belgium, it would have been better to come home and be at altitude and train and get ready for Roubaix at home rather than stay in Belgium,
Okay.
with the plan of hopefully being able to come back, which now obviously isn't going to happen.
So what's life like for you now, Quinn? What are you up to these days?
It's been snowing here, so I've been skiing a bit and just kind of resetting. We'll start training mid this week and build up. It looks like we'll be racing classics in October, so that's a long ways from now. So basically, we have to do the whole winter all over again and just build back up to be in shape for October.
So you're in Durango, Colorado, right? And I've seen on your Instagram you've been out skiing or rock climbing. What's the difference there for you?
Yeah, I just been out skiing. All the resorts are closed now, so it's just been backcountry, which for fitness wise and altitude training, it's actually been really good and a good break from the bike, just because it's pretty disappointing to do all that work and not get it to pay off. So if I had to come home and start training right away on the bike, I don't know if mentally that would have been too good, but to have the chance to come and ski and go back to what I used to do all winter, and it's been nice.
If the classics are in the fall, when do you start trying to start building again? Like when does your off season end?
I think right now my plan is to start riding Thursday, Friday next week, or this week, I guess, and yeah, just start with the low base intensity, the long hours. I mean, pretty much copy and paste November into April now, which it's going to be weird to be doing base rides in the summer, but yeah, it's what we have to do.
Are you trying to take advantage of this time too and do other things? Like we saw you out skiing?
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be back and to have a little distraction, but at the end of the day, we're all bike racers and we want to be ready to win the races, whether or not they're in the spring or the fall. So have 2 weeks to do what I want and then get back to work and get ready.
So it was an abbreviated early Neopro debut for you, that short spring. Just what did you learn so far?
Just how hard the races are and what they're like, because it's so different with the structure of the races and how they play out in the intensity, and having a job to do in the races versus doing what I want, and then just really handling the distance, and especially in the stage races, just long hard days stacked up in a row is something new for me that I actually really enjoyed, and now I have a better idea of what to expect and how to be ready for that.
Omloop, you helped your teammate win too, Steuven.
Yeah, it was a good start for the classics team, and I think part of where a lot of the disappointment comes, just because we saw how good we were and everyone was on good form and ready for a really good campaign.
How is that different for you? Being a winner and then going into that role, like you said, your job is to help a teammate win.
It's definitely a change, but yeah, when it pays off, it's really fun, especially when everyone has a part in it. And those races are so hard that before I assumed, you could just take a pole and then sit in the group, but once you do your job, you're done. Like it's so hard to do that one little turn that it's game over for you. So that was definitely an adjustment, but yeah, when you get back to the bus and you get to watch the finish, it's a cool part.
Cool. Quinn, appreciate it. Thanks for your time.
Hey, yeah, thank you.